Hello, Maritime Rights 2024. Um, I'm so excited to have you all here today. And first of all, I would like to congratulate you for coming this far. I understand this is a very competitive process. So for you to be here today, it means that you have worked very hard to be here, and so you deserve to be here. So this is for you. I'm clapping for you. This is well deserved, and I hope that you make very good use of the opportunity that you're going to have here in the Maritime Rights 2024 process. What do I want to talk about today? I have been asked to talk about how maritime rights can impact the world. That's a tall order. I would first of all think about how maritime rights can impact your community, your maritime community, maybe even your maritime Nigeria community, and then we extend it to the world. But yeah, for every one of us as individuals who I want to believe are social forces, the world is your oyster, and you can change the world. You can impact the world. So when you think about impact, what comes to mind? I usually love to have an interactive class, but given internet issues and distance and all of those things, we have decided to make a video this year, and then have a live question and answer session. So I would want you to take a moment, just pause and think about what you consider to be impact. When you think about impact, what do you think about? You think about change, you think about influence, you think about how you can impress upon the thought processes of other people, how you can contribute to people's decision making, how you can contribute to behavioral change. Impact is very wide. So when you think about impact, how do you think about impact? Now, how do you think about impact as a writer? How do you think about impact as a writer who writes in the maritime industry? What do you want to achieve? Because usually when you think about impact, there's purpose behind it, right? Following behind it. So it's, I want to achieve this. It's what I'm looking forward to doing. And then I'm thinking about, how do I spread that thing that I think will help people? So that's where impact comes together. Impact cannot be solitary. You can't be thinking about impacting the world and just thinking about yourself. You're thinking about how people around you, the social factors, even social laws and theories and principles can change based on what you do. So I know that all of you do not have the same interests, you do not have the same kind of writing ideas, you do not have the same audience expectation. Some people want to write for children, maybe children's story kind of things. Some people want to create color books, picture stories. Some people want to write for mature audience. Some want to write for adolescents. Some want to write scientific articles. So when you think about the first step to impact as a writer, is probably the content of your work. When you think content, the audience of your work. So who am I targeting? Who am I writing for? Do you have clarity for that? Who are you writing for? Who is your audience? Who will be reading your work? Who will be listening to you? So those are primary considerations when you're thinking about impact as a writer. So content and audience sorted out. I know that the other speakers must have spoken to you or will speak to you about the technicalities of writing, but I'm talking to you about the effect of your work, writing from the point of the effect of your work. Stephen Covey, one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, is beginning with the end in mind. So impact is about beginning with the end in mind. You're starting, but you're basing your start and your whole thing on the end, the effect of your work. The work hasn't even been created, but you're structuring that work based on the impact that you're wanting to create. And so we have, thought about the content, the audience that we are creating our work for. Then you marry that with your passion. What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you're hoping that the rest of the world will catch fire from you for and spread? Because we're all, as impact makers, we're all like light bearers. You're holding a light, you're holding a candle, and now you're trying to light up the rest of the streets, the rest of the people's candles with your light. So, what are you passionate about? But beyond what you're passionate about, how can you sell that passion? Because there are so many people who have written, but not so many of these writers have been read. You can write, but you might not end up getting read. And so it's important that your work strikes a match in the life of someone else. And so you're thinking, how do I ignite this fire to be strong enough to ignite a fire in someone else? Even if it's one person, even if it's one class, even if it's one community, but this fire is able to light up the path of someone else. How do I do that? How do I cook my soup to be flavorful enough that people will enjoy the flavor? To be tasty enough that people would want to eat the soup that I have cooked? That's the whole gist about impact making. So you pause again and think, how do I cook my story, my writing, whether you're going to be a fiction writer or you're going to be a research writer or you're going to be a children's storyteller, whatever vibe of writing you want to bring, how will you cook this vibe to be appealing to other people? Is the whole gist of it. So it's just like in banking and business, they would say, know your customer. You need to know your audience. You need to know what's appealing to them. But even in knowing that, there has to be a balance between knowing what appeals to your audience and maintaining your authenticity. Because sometimes when writers and other people, want to structure their work to make it appealing to their audience, in the process of that, some people lose their authenticity because they're looking at what's already acceptable to the audience, what the audience already likes. But the audience is always looking for something new. The problem with that is you never know what new thing the audience would like, will catch up to, will appreciate, will adopt. There's a gamble to authenticity. But you have to think about some things that are basic to human behavior. Primarily, the human brain loves pleasure. So in your authenticity, how pleasurable is your content? How are you able to craft your content in its authentic form to be pleasurable or challenging? Sometimes people just like challenge to the audience, or to strike an argument, to strike a conversation, a social conversation among your audience. So being able to effectively marry your authenticity with appeal is one way that your writing can be impactful. And then after you have thought about creating an impactful content, no matter how beautiful a writing is, if it doesn't find a platform, it's not going to make impact. Because like we said earlier, impact is about other people, lighting the candle of other people. So you have to find a platform. Already writing is a platform, but there's also the aspect of genre. There's also the aspect of even social media influence. There are all of those things. So how do I spread my story? This is not part of what I have been asked to talk about, and I want to believe that so many other speakers, teachers, lecturers, professors at the program are talking to you about the technicalities of these issues. But spreading that passion, spreading that content, spreading that work is a vital part of impact making. So I have this work now. It's beautiful. It's been reviewed. Everybody thinks it's amazing. What are the tools that are within my reach, or the platforms that are within my reach to spread this content that I have created? So how do you spread your content? The beautiful thing about today's world is that it's an open system. Some years back, not even too far away, maybe like 20 years, 30, 40 years ago, there used to be very strong gatekeepers for publishing, for media, broadcasting and things like that. But social media has made this very easy for us. You can be self-published. There are some contents that publishers would not have accepted, but people self-publish those contents and become New York Times bestsellers on self-published content. People launch music and concepts and things on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and they become millionaires because now you're interfacing with your audience. You don't need gatekeepers to reach your audience anymore. Music doesn't become popular on radio stations and TV stations anymore. They become popular on TikTok and Spotify and Apple Music, and that's it. So what's your platform? What's your plan What's your plan for spreading your content? Because if your content is just within you, with you, and just around the people that are in this program with you, or your family members and friends who are vested in encouraging you, the impact is limited. But your impact can be broad if you find the right platform for what you're cooking. So how are you? I'm looking forward to other cohorts of Maritime Rights where we have intensive training on social media. How can we help people who benefit from this program to maximize from social media? Because it's the platform of today. It's one of the easiest and best ways to spread your light. So think about that, and again, one of the very important parts of impact making in today's world is networking. Who is your reference group? Maritime Rights cohorts, the colleagues that you have, the professors that you have, the platform itself is an avenue to network and to open yourself up to other opportunities. But beyond that, when you find your genre, you can find your people. You can find other ways to network with people who have the same interests with you. They can help you know exactly how to spread your light, and to help the people who have, caught your light, who now will become your community to help spread that light. And that's how you see that somebody makes a video and on their platform it's viewed 10 million times, and somebody else in their community picks it up, it's viewed another 10 million times from that leg, and then it's viewed another 20 million times somewhere else, and then at the end of the day one video has over 100 million views, and the community continues to spread. Someone started a culture recently, and it's all about being demure, and I heard that the original video has now been viewed over 50 million times, and everything is now demure. We are all trying to be demure, and this is something that don't let me go into all that, but in the light of women emancipation and feminism, demure might not have been, something that is very welcoming. But it's interesting that culture can change just on a whim. So take advantage of the possibilities of swift cultural change to make your impact. And I think this is a good note to end this presentation. I am going to be logging on right after you have listened to this, so that if you have any questions about how to prepare your mind to make impact, how to structure your impact making, how to even build the social strength, the psychological strength to make impact, or whatever you think about in terms of how you want to use your work to make impact. We'll be logging on live with you all in just a couple of seconds, and we will share all of those things together. And so until I come your way again next year, probably, be well and live your best life. Thank you.